Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a student PSW, and I'm here to help teach you how to check for radial pulse for a patient who's recently had a pacemaker inserted. First off, a little education on pacemakers. A pacemaker is a small device that prevents someone's heart from beating too slow. Demand only kicks in when the heart rate drops, most commonly used for systematic bradycardia. So how to check and count for a radial pulse. The radial pulse is the most common site used when checking and counting pulse rate. Reason being, it is so easily accessible. It tells us the heart rate and the quality. It's important to pay attention to how it is beating, normal, irregular, absent, etc. Your age and fitness level can have a big impact on your resting heart rate. So all the following can also affect your heart rate. You have temperature, body position such as lying, standing, or sitting, your emotional state, or your caffeine intake, and certain medications. So where to find your radial pulse rate? The radial pulse is found in the groove of the wrist on the thumb side. You take your index finger and your middle finger and you place it in the groove where your thumb is, so here. All you need to do is lightly feel it. You don't need to apply much pressure as you could obstruct the pulse, and never use your thumb. It's important to also make sure that you wait approximately 10 minutes before taking your pulse if you've been active. So if you have a regular pulse, you'll count the pulse for 30 seconds and you're going to multiply it by 2. That will be your pulse rate. So let's say 32 beats is what you counted in the 30 seconds. You would multiply it by 2 and you would get 64 for your pulse rate. So for some expected outcomes for after taking your radial pulse, so you're going to be checking that your radial pulse is palpable and within the normal range for an adult, which is between 60 and 100 beats per minute. Your radial pulse is strong, firm, and regular. Some unexpected outcomes for taking your radial pulse. So you'd be looking at your radial pulse is weak, difficult to palpate, or absent. If your pulse rate is greater than 100 beats per minute, it's known as tachycardia. And if your pulse rate for an adult is under 60 beats per minute, it's known as bradycardia. Pulse rate should always be taken before and after any administration of medications, and you should always document pulse strength and if there's any abnormal findings. So I'm going to demonstrate how to check for a radial pulse. First step is to perform hand hygiene. You want to make sure your hands are nice and clean before touching anyone else. Okay. Okay, so I have my patient's arm here. So to check for radial pulse, you're going to be going on your thumb side. You're going to go down here and make sure that you're pressing lightly. You don't need to press firm to obstruct any pulse points. Okay, so are you ready? Yes. Okay, so you're going to have make sure you have a watch that counts seconds, and you're going to sit here and you're going to count for 30.
Alright, George, you go first. Yes, it's all yours.
Okay, so I've done 30 seconds and I got 34 beats in that 30-second period. So during that, so what you would do is you would multiply that number by 2, so 34 times 2, you'd be looking at 68 beats per minute, which is in the normal range. So now I'm going to have my patient demonstrate back to me what I've just taught them to make sure that I haven't missed anything and that they have a thorough understanding. Okay, so here's my arm, and you have the watch there.
Okay, so first I put my fingers right here. Yeah, okay, that's neat, I feel it. And now I'm gonna watch the clock for 30 seconds and count it.
We're waiting here. We're waiting here, 30.
So you're doing really good right now. You're not pressing too tightly. Very nice.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
We are possibly the worst skiers of 2016.
Okay, your pulse rate was 30 in those 30 seconds.
Okay.
So that equals 60. And that falls between the 60 and 100, so that would be considered a good pulse.
Absolutely, yes. Now, do you have any other questions or concerns? Or is there anything that you felt like you weren't confident in?
No, I feel like you teached it really well. Thank you.
You're welcome.